Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com here with Big Al McMorty and Jay Briggs. We are here with NFL Week 12 picks. Been here every single week of the NFL season. I would say we haven't kept track. Maybe next year we'll keep a leaderboard on these picks and keep track.
I've kept track of mine.
I know Big Al's kept track of his. I'm going to guess he's in first place. I probably have hit the most money line dogs, and Jay is probably in the middle between us. I'm more, and it's just three totally contrasting styles here. Jay is a little more emotionally attached. Al is emotionally detached. And I get too excited about an underdog that I like. I mean, this is how I've done it forever. And, I live and die with it. I pay very little juice on my losers. And a lot of those losers I find would have lost anyway, even if I would have taken the points and I saved myself the juice. But got full card of NFL this week. It's the first time we've had a full card in a while, and it doesn't make the matchups any better. That's for sure. There's really not a lot of meat on the bone this week. There's certainly a few upset opportunities, maybe some chances for some teams to rise up, but most of it is games that it's kind of like if you have family in town for the weekend, this is probably, you're not going to have much of an excuse. Got the Lions and the Bills kicking things off tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time start from beautiful Detroit. I don't know who the halftime entertainment's going to be, but more than likely going to be better than the game. Al, what do you think of this one?
Well, the Bills are averaging 28.1 points per game on offense. The Lions are giving up 28.2 points per game. So you've got a great offense against a crap defense. And going back to 1980 at game 5 forward, when you get matchups between great offensive teams that score 28 or more and awful defensive teams that give up 28 or more, the key predictive factor is how that bad defensive team did the week before. If it covered the spread the week before, then it is 13 and 29 ATS in these matchups. If it lost ATS, then it's bounced back to go 56 and 37 ATS. Now, of course, Detroit is off that upset win with the Giants. I'm taking Buffalo here. I'm going to lay the points.
Well, it's Bebe Rexha at halftime of the Lions game.
Who?
I'm excited for that one.
Who?
I have no idea who they are. David Guetta is playing with her. He's a DJ. And
I've heard of him.
David Guetta.
I'm sure there's everyone out there, all the young kids are like, you've heard of, they probably, go to this guy's shows or something.
I know the Cowboys one. Jay, what do you think of this game? And Bebe Rexha.
For me, in this one, man, all I've seen on social media leading up to this week, y'all know that's right, I'm on the media a lot. I've seen everybody talking about the road favorites record on Thanksgiving. So a lot of people, if you go look at it, it's crazy. The road favorite on Thanksgiving is really nice record. Everybody loves the Bills. In my opinion, though, sometimes trends are meant to be broken. I'm taking the hot Lions. They've won 3 straight. I think they can keep this one pretty competitive at home. We've seen the Bills fall short. In my opinion, it's going to go one of two ways. Either the Bills are going to blow them out or the Lions are going to play them pretty competitively, and I think it's going to be the competitive option. The Bills, they're just not the same team right now. Josh Allen, I don't think he's 100%. We've seen him throw a few interceptions here recently, and I think that this Lions team can come in here. We've seen this Lions team put up points on some of the best teams. I think they can run the ball effectively, and I think that they can keep this one pretty close. So I'm gonna hold my nose early in the morning. I'm gonna take the Lions on Thanksgiving. I think the tradition continues for them, and they can keep it close.
So Rexa won an American Music Award in 2018 for her song "Meant to Be." There you go. We knew that. I think this one's going to be high scoring, and I think it's going to be fairly close. I think that this will be one of those games where the back door will definitely be open. I think the Bills can definitely move the ball in this lousy Lions defense, and I think Jared Goff. This is playoff run. This is the time where you have to set it down for the playoff run. So I expect the Bills to win. I think the Lions have a shot at the back door with that big number, depending on how the Bills play it. But it's definitely going to be up to them. We've got the Cowboys taking on the Seahawks And this one, the Jonas Brothers are playing at halftime. So this is the Jonas Brothers' second time playing halftime. I remember they played, I had to look it up, but I remember that they had played before, and it was 2008 halftime because Troy Aikman's daughters were all excited about it, that they came to the game to watch the Jonas Brothers at halftime, and it was a really big deal for him and for his family. But the Cowboys in halftimes where the Jonas Brothers have performed, which would be a one-game set, 34-9 over the Seahawks. Al, do the Cowboys carry over and turn this into a Jonas Brothers streak?
Well, I don't know, but you guys know how I look at the NFL. The NFL is one of those leagues where what is unexpected will happen more often than what is expected. But there's one day that's not happened, and that's Thanksgiving Day. On Thanksgiving, over the last 43 years, basically things have gone according to form. And the favorites have overperformed. Jay just mentioned, with the other game, road favorites. Road favorites are 27-16 ATS on Thanksgiving going back to 1980. That's not even here are some other numbers that'll even better than that. Favorites of 7 or more points, whether road or home, are 28-10 ATS on Thanksgiving. Double-digit favorites on Thanksgiving, 14-2 ATS. Favorites off back-to-back wins, they're 30-11 ATS. If you take a look at how teams do off a win when they play a team off a loss on Thanksgiving Day, 31-17 ATS. Guys, that's not how the NFL usually operates, but on Thanksgiving, that's what's happened over the past 43 years. It's a day for, basically people to get, the guys who don't know how to handicap the NFL to get rich on Thanksgiving.
Well, they do it generally by betting against the Lions and on the Cowboys.
Well,
I'm going to guess that's what I'm going to guess.
But actually, the Cowboys ATS on Thanksgiving is horrible.
Actually, I think if I looked at it, I think both of them are around 50-50, unless I around 22-20 or something like that. I thought
that the Cowboys in the last 11 were 1-10 on Thanksgiving.
I'm going to give you the last 43.
Yeah.
No, I think both
crazy.
teams are around
it's 1-10. It's 1-10 in the last 11. I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm just let's see. Team is equal to Detroit.
Well, the one was the Jonas Brothers, 2008.
Right.
I believe you.
So Detroit is 21-21 ATS the last 42 years. Dallas is. Let me see what Dallas is. Memory serves me correctly. It's 20-22 or 22-20. Dallas is. Nope, they're both 21-21. So,
50-50.
Yeah, I mean, but when they're favored, they do well. When they're an underdog, they suck. So, but that being said, I'm still going to take New York here. I'm going to do a kicking and screaming, and the main reason I'm going to take New York is because they're playing with revenge. This is a division game. They already played once this season. New York's playing with revenge, and teams playing with revenge on Thanksgiving. They've actually gone 17-12 ATS, including 8-2 ATS off a straight-up loss. So I'll take New York plus the points. We'll see what happens.
For me, man, I got in early on this one. But I would still advise laying at the 10. I'm probably going to lay some more at the 10. Tomorrow, I'm going to be really thankful for what my Cowboys do to this Giants team. I know we've seen a slaughter last week, but I think we're in order for another one here this week. Dak Prescott 9-0 against the Giants. We never lose to the Giants. The Giants coming into this one, their whole offensive line is missing, and that is just terrible for a Giants team with the pass rush of this Dallas Cowboys. All it's going to take, y'all, and I would advise you to go live bet if this does happen. If the Cowboys go up 3-0, 7-0, it's over. It's over. If we force the Giants to have to step back and throw the ball, it's going to be a nightmare for them. Lay the 10 with the Cowboys. We lost last year on Thanksgiving. We bounced back this year. This is probably the best team we've had in a while. We're not losing on Thanksgiving tomorrow. We're going to put on a show for the Giants. A lot of people are just looking at this. Both teams 7-3. One team's a 10-point favorite. I'm going to hold my nose and take the 10, and it's the wrong side to be on. I'm trying to tell you. These two teams, they have the same record, but they're on two different playing fields. The Giants have been in a few lucky games that have gone their way, It's not going to go their way tomorrow. They're going to get run off the field. The Cowboys are playing at an elite level right now. I know we had the blunder against Green Bay. but I've come in here and I'm telling y'all all season how much I believe in this team. This is me taking fandom out of it. We're going to slaughter the Giants tomorrow. Take the Cowboys, lay the 10. Have a good Thanksgiving.
I don't know about that. I really struggle with teams that can't stop the run. I just really do. And I don't think that you can win the Super Bowl or get remotely close if you can't stop the run. The Cowboys just can't stop the run. They just can't do it. And it's like you have a Giants team that's committed to the run, like overly committed to the run. And they know how to beat the Cowboys over pursuit. They have the quarterback that's perfect for that. That's why he still has a job, because he's perfect against the Cowboys, because they just come right after him across the middle. Then they start handing the ball to Barkley up. He runs it up the middle between the tackles. And same, right? We've seen this a million times.
But
then he keeps it and he runs it around the end. He does play action, but he doesn't throw. He runs off of it. And that's how you beat a team like this. You just keep him off balance. You got him guessing now. Then you can actually throw the ball, which you don't want to do too often with Daniel Jones, but, just enough to keep him honest. I think this game is going to be a little closer than you think, Jay. I do. I think, I do. I think they're going to want to keep people tuned in.
I don't think so. I think this was going to good old-fashioned blowout. I think this game is going to be almost exactly to what happened in the Chicago Bears game. Another team who really ran the football. Chicago Bears even stuck to the run in that game, and they ran the ball effectively. But when your offense is humming the way that the Cowboys just hung 40 points on the Minnesota Vikings.
That doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. Let me tell you why.
Matter.
Because this is
once
also,
a game goes 10 points.
This is also the number one scoring offense.
There's no difference between a 40-point win and a 10-point win.
Last year.
There's no difference.
But see, in this game,
there's no difference between a 10-point win and 40.
Because we have a 10-point spread.
There's no difference between a 10-point win and a 40-point win in the NFL, because once a team goes down double digits, the game plan goes out the window. They know what plays they're going to run. They know that they have to pass. It forces them to pass. If they can defend those 3 passes, it's a quick turnover on downs, and then it's the defense being dragged up and down the field. Once a game goes double digits, which they get it there, it really doesn't matter. It could be 52-10. It could be 42-10. It could be 25-10. It's very, very hard to come back in the NFL from a 10-point deficit. You see it in college all the time. You don't see it in the NFL all that often where a team comes back from 10 down. You just don't see it. So once the Vikings went down 10, it really didn't matter. And you could say that, and the rest of it, it's just boring, man. And it's like the teams that celebrate that and the ass slapping and all that other stuff, you're just setting yourself up the way the Eagles did to get run over by Brian Robinson. And it's like, I think that the Cowboys are probably setting themselves up for that, because they are a master of disappointing their fans. They just have a really, really good at that. That's one thing that they've got down pat, and that is disappointing their fans with very good teams, much better teams than this one. Much better teams than this.
But
I'll tell you, man,
I got a different feeling about this one. We'll see
tomorrow. I have a feeling that the Giants are going to play with this coach. They're going to play it very close to the vest. And it's like they're going to be willing to punt and play that field position game and do those things. I'm telling you. It's like, and I also like in this game the size of that New York TV market that they're going to want to keep glued into this game.
Also, Ezekiel Elliott touchdown. He's going to jump in the kettle probably again. That's almost a lock. Lock that in. Thanksgiving Day. Come on now. Like, that's written in the script. I don't talk about the script that they talk about, but I feel like that one's written in. He's going to score tomorrow.
All right. Well, we've got the Vikings and the Patriots. We go back to the scene of the crime to Minneapolis, where the Vikings are just 2-3 against the number, 4-1 straight up. And, the Patriots actually a better road cover team than they are at home, 3-1-1 on the road this season, and arguably better than that. But I don't know. Patriots find a way last week. I don't know how they won that game against the Jets. But they won, they covered, they kind of did it all. Miracle punt return. Those don't happen every week. I think in this one, Bill Belichick likes to take away the offense's biggest weapon. I just don't know what he's going to choose in this game because the Vikings have a lot of options. Al, what do you think of this one?
I was on mute. This is a tough game. Oh, do you mind if we do some quick shameless promotion? I've got my NFL total of the month going on Thanksgiving, so if folks are watching this now,
no, we like to call it whoring yourself out, but
yeah, I'm gonna whore myself out because I've got my best play this week does go on Thanksgiving Day. It's my NFL total of the month, so yeah. As far as this game goes, home team.
What's your record in the NFL total of the month?
I mean, on totals, I'm 12-6 my last 18 football totals, and going back years and years, I'm 203 and 144 my last 347 totals. But I mean, I don't know what my last month. My NFL total of the month was the Lions Dolphins over, and I think it was over at halftime or close to it. It was final score is like 31-27. But
what's this year's?
What's this year's what?
Total of the month.
This year's no. I might have my total of the year later, but my total of the month for November is Thanksgiving.
All right. I try and get Ruffalo on that.
We almost had him.
I was so close.
Yeah, you can ask me what this month's total of the month is, Mitch.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. That I would have had it. I think I would have had it. I always try and get Ruffalo on it.
Oh,
Ruffalo has now been called on the show. Was referred to in the comments as the smart one. Yep.
Anyway, as far as this game goes, I mean, I'm going to look for the Vikings to bounce back. That debacle last week was at home. This game's at home. Home teams off a straight up and against a spread home loss are 122 and 105. ATS versus opponents off a straight up and against a spread home win. If our home team's not favored by 3 or more points, so Vikings favored by 2 here. I'll take Minnesota minus a 2.
I'm with you right there, man. I'm gonna take the bounce back for the Minnesota Vikings. Y'all know I don't like this Vikings team. I really don't. I've been telling y'all all season they're overrated, but they're a good team, and I like good teams on the bounce back. I know we're looking at primetime Kirk Cousins. I have to put that out there. We're looking at primetime Kirk Cousins, 7:20 Thanksgiving Day. The lights really don't get no bigger than this. But he's gonna come through, man.
Oh, they get bigger. It's Super Bowl, it's playoffs.
Well, you know, he's not really in that conversation yet. So we're gonna roll with the Vikings in this one. I've been on the Patriots a lot this year. We were on them last week and the week before. We've been on the Patriots a lot. We're still believing in what Bill Belichick is doing. He takes away your best weapon, like Mitch said, but I don't know. I got a feeling that this Minnesota team just finds Jefferson for some late game heroics like they've done all season. It's going to be a good game. But I think Minnesota probably walks it off and makes it, which they typically doink it off the upright. But I think things kind of break their way tomorrow night, and Minnesota walks it off and wins it by 3.
Yeah, I think for me it's Vikings money line. I'm rare on money line favorites, but I think that's the better play here. It probably won't have to lay too much there, and you're going to be in a way better place because the Vikings doink extra points like no one's business, and I could see this one being 2.
Man, I like that a lot.
So I'm going to go just money line.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see a rematch between the Cowboys and the Vikings in the playoffs, and then I can't wait to see what Jay has to say then.
It's going to be another slaughter.
Yeah, you're gonna be saying, "Oh shit, why do we have to beat them 40-3 in that first game?"
Yep. Usually not a good sign. Speaking of not a good sign, the Panthers have 3 starting quarterbacks this season. Sam Darnold gets the ball this week.
Back in action
at home against the Broncos. Panthers, though, not a bad 3-8 team. They played the Ravens pretty tough last week in Baltimore. They got some pretty good calls that went their way too, but it's all part of it. Al, what do you think of this one?
I mean, for me, this is not a play really against Carolina so much as a play on Denver. Denver's a bad team. They're a losing team. They're off an upset loss to the Raiders. But when you take a look, some people might be like, oh my God, how can this team be a road favorite, right? But if you take a look at losing teams off upset losses, they've got 163 ATS as a road favorite. So with Denver coming into this game with that 3-7 record and off that upset loss, I'm going to lay the short price with Russell Wilson and company.
I'm with you again, Big Al. I'm going to take the Broncos and I'm going to lay it, man. I would probably think about money line again in this one.
So the only thing what we've disagreed on is the the game that you'll never be against Dallas, right?
Yeah. Pretty much so far.
I'm just get clarification.
But yeah, I'm gonna take the Broncos in this one. Yeah, and I know this is another team that I typically am not on. I do not like this Broncos team, but they got to show up sooner or later. To me, this Panthers team is the worst team in the league. I'm gonna stick with it. I think they're the worst team in the NFL right now. Battling out. If the Texans play Carolina, I'm taking the Texans on the money line. So that's just how I feel. But I'm gonna take the Broncos this week. Think they get them a win. It's not my favorite game by far this week. Two terrible teams, but the Broncos got a strong defense. I think the defense stands up. This is a low total. I think I've seen this is the lowest total of the year, but I also seen totals this low as like 14-2 or something like that. It's something crazy. So I like the under as well in this one. So yeah, Broncos and the under.
Panthers for me on this one. I'm going to go disagree with you guys. I watched the game last week against the Ravens. I thought they were pretty respectable in that game, and that game was in Baltimore. I think if you can give the Ravens a run like that in Baltimore, you could probably beat the Broncos at home. Broncos are terrible this year. I think we're at that time of the year where they're starting to point some fingers and assign some blame. Guys are getting cut late in the season. Melvin Gordon getting the axe there.
Yeah.
My guess, it probably wasn't that sad of a day for him. He probably has a good portion of his salary was guaranteed, and they gave him a fortune, right?
What's funny is that he wasn't sad at all. He posted on social media some funny quotes and stuff. He was pretty cool about the cut.
Let's see what he was making. Melvin Gordon, he only took $100,000 in signing bonus, guaranteed $2.25 million. So he was only on a 1-year contract at $2.25 million, but he just came out of 2 years, $16 million. And then before that, he was on 4 years, $10.7 million. So he's made $30 million since 2015. So we're not going to cry too much of a tear for Melvin Gordon,
especially playing for a fan base who didn't like you.
Yep.
So that was his main fight. He put the ball on the ground too much, though. It was time for him to go.
I don't even think it was that. I just think it was time for him to go.
Think so?
Oh, yeah. I don't think he was really contributing all that much. But we've got the Cleveland Browns and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, man, this game stinks, too. The Bucs are now 5-5, and as bad as it is, I mean, they might even be in the playoffs again. How crappy is that going to be?
They're the 4 seed right now.
Yuck.
Right now, the Cowboys would be going to Tampa.
There you have it. Good luck in that one. Yeah, you're going to get calls in that one all day against Tom Brady. Al, what do you think of this thing? Jacoby Brissett and company against Tom Brady. The Browns looked horrible again last week.
I actually hope the Bucs do make the playoffs because look at the alternatives out there.
It's true. Cardinals.
I mean, I'd rather give me something interesting to watch with Tom Brady. Even I'd rather, watch him even if he's playing poorly than watch some of this other stuff. Anyway, the last time we saw Tampa Bay, they were playing in London. Then they had their bye week. Teams that played in London are currently 4-15-1 ATS their next game, including 1-12 with a push ATS if they were off their bye week. So the bye weeks hasn't helped these teams either. I'm going to take Cleveland.
Big Al, man. We on the same wavelengths. I'm coming in here taking Cleveland too, but it's not that simple though. It's really not. I think Tampa wins it by 3. Honestly, I do. I think Tampa wins this one by 3. And that hook looms large in this one. I can still see this one probably going up as well. I think people are going to hop on Tampa. I'm going to take the Browns in this one. Tampa Bay is still an awful team in my mind. They're 5-5. They're not a good team. They have Brady. They have some weapons, I know. And they should get back to kind of start getting back in the flow. But that doesn't necessarily mean a cover. That you know what I mean? I can see them winning this one by 2 as well. This could be on an off number. I'm gonna take the Browns. And I'm just gonna hold my nose.
I'm taking the Bucs. So the Bucs have not been running the ball all season long. They've been terrible rushing the football. The last 2 games, they've been starting to run the football, and they're definitely playing better. Last game, they committed to the run, going 44 carries for 161 yards. That's how you win football games. Run the football, play defense. I like the Bucs here. The Browns are just straight ass. They're terrible.
They are.
The
Bucs aren't much better.
So it's like Rod Zawacki's slip of the tongue this morning when he called the Citadel the Shitadel. It's like he tried to like gloss over it too, like he didn't say it. It was like, wait a minute, did he just say what I thought he said? Got the Jaguars hosting the Ravens. Jaguars 3-7, the Ravens 7-3. But they didn't look like it last week against the Panthers, but they did. They were good enough to win. They just looked disjointed on offense coming off the bye. Al, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I had the Panthers here on this podcast. I'm sorry, I had the Ravens here on this podcast last week. That was one of my losses. I think I went 6-6 last week, and for the season now 93-64. I'm not playing the Ravens. I thought the Ravens were in a good spot last week. I was wrong, but I don't like them in this spot at all. Road favorite. The Ravens are 15-32 ATS in the regular season as a road favorite versus an opponent off a straight-up loss. I mean, yeah, Jacksonville's an awful team, but I'm taking the 4 points with the Jaguars.
Me, I was on the Ravens last week as well. They ended up being my best bet on Sunday last week, and they had a chance there at the end. They really did. It came down to like one of the last drives, and they didn't get it done.
Well, they called back the run. Back the run.
I didn't have it. I didn't have that one on my TV. I was watching it on ESPN. So
Lamar Jackson what happened was the Ravens got the ball back, and before the final interception, the drive before the final interception, they were looking to score another touchdown, and Lamar Jackson ran around the end, and he was inside the 10-yard line, and they called it all the way back. It was like a 60-yard run.
Yeah, I thought
they called it
all
like the way back.
Yeah.
So it was a bullshit call too.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
So, the cover was there. They're the better team in this one. I've been telling you I've sold all my Jaguar stock. I can't even get there with the Jags this week. Ravens, I think this could be the week they flex their muscles. Give me the Ravens. I'll lay the points.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the Ravens too. I can't stand the Jaguars. I hate Doug Peterson. I like watching him lose. I'll probably be laying the extended line on this thing because that 4 looks funny. It does look
funny. It looks. That was the other thing. I didn't say it because I know the number's right and all that, but it looks funny.
It looks way funny.
Yep.
But so did a few weeks ago the what line was it? The Giants versus the Texans, right? And the Giants went in. I think they won 24-16, laying 4.5 or whatever. So
we've seen some funny lines, but hey, it happens.
Speaking of the Texans, they visit Miami. This is the biggest line of the week. Dolphins 13.5 over the Texans, and the Dolphins have been.
It's not the biggest. Second biggest.
Kansas City.
Oh yeah, Kansas City against the Rams.
Yeah, second biggest though.
Wow, there's a few big ones.
Yeah.
So there's 2 on Thanksgiving that are big. Then you have the Niners line against the Saints is big, and then Kansas City against the Rams.
We're at that time of the season. Teams are starting to separate.
Well, what do you think of this one? Dolphins and the Texans.
I mean, for me, I've talked about it before. I mean, the Dolphins are giving up 24.1 points per game this season, and now they're favored by 13.5. And I like going against these big favorites that have, mediocre to poor defenses. NFL favorites of -9 or more that give up 24 or more points. Those teams are 65 and 109 ATS. And you could have a few tighteners with that. What you really want to do is you want to filter out the teams from that 109 and 65 that have good scoring margins of 2 points or better. And if you do that, you can take 109 and 65 and move it to 82 and 37. The problem for Miami is their scoring margin isn't 2 points or better. Miami's scoring margin is 1.1, so they would fit in that 37 and 82 tightener. I'm going to go against Miami. I'm going to take Houston plus a 13.5.
For me in this one, I know this Texans team is a scrappy group, but I'm gonna lay the points with the Dolphins. The Texans are making a quarterback switch this week. They're gonna put in Allen, and they're not starting Mills, and I don't think that's gonna bode well. I mean, what's the point of that? I mean, honestly, in my opinion, you leave Mills in there, give him to the end of the season, and then you cut bait and draft somebody. Switching to Allen isn't going to do much. If anything, it's going to separate this locker room. I think this could be one where the Dolphins continue to look like the Dolphins and they just take the Texans behind the shed. This one could be a Cowboys, Vikings last week, and I'm going to lay the points with the Dolphins.
Last week on the Sunday show, Jay and I got into it before the games started.
The same damn Texans.
About the Texans, and I had the Commanders in that one, and it was I think 2 seconds into the game, the Commanders had a pick six, and they never looked back in that game. It was one of the bigger stompings of the week. And I don't know, the Texans, they're not playing well. I mean, they're really not playing well at all. But the Dolphins have really taken their foot off the gas so many times. It's like they take their foot off the gas. And also, I mean, for a team that has I don't know, they keep winning because, they score more points than their opponent. So I just don't know if they cover 13.5. I think in this one, you got to go to the total, maybe go to the over.
It's only 2 touchdowns. It's only 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's only 2 touchdowns, but the Dolphins haven't been beating anybody by 2 touchdowns, but the Texans are so bad, man.
I know. I'm kidding.
So bad. They're so bad. They're so bad. It's like they stink. The Texans look like a team that made a lot of bad deals.
The Texans have been in some decent situational spots this year. They never rise to the occasion.
Never rise to the occasion.
They didn't do it against Washington, didn't do it against the Giants. I mean,
I really thought last week they were going to rise to the occasion. Like last week for me was a great spot, and they just pick six. The
letdown spot for the Commanders. Yeah, they really let down. They took their foot off the gas. Yeah.
They let down because they would have won by 40 points, but they let down and they only won by 13 or whatever.
I don't think in pro sports there is a letdown spot until you've clinched something. I really don't. I
believe in the letdown spot.
I don't believe it. What I believe is that there's not one of these guys in this league. There's maybe a handful that have ever played in the league that could go out and get a job paying remotely close to what they're making.
My game of the month in the NBA tonight is based off a letdown spot.
Well, you tell me. I'll ask you this, Jake. You tell me if anybody on that team that's letting down. You tell me if any of those guys can go out into the working world and get a job paying them what they're paying them to pay on that court.
No. Letdown might be a misnomer. It just might be that the team doesn't play as well. Yeah. I mean, you might be emotionally ready to play, but that doesn't mean you're going to play well.
Well, I'm always emotionally ready to play. I don't always play well, but I don't believe in the letdown spot. I don't believe in the look ahead or the letdown.
Well, there's statistical evidence that teams do let down. There's no statistical evidence that teams look ahead.
Wow. I don't think the Dolphins are looking ahead or letting down. They're coming off a bye. They have not really clicked, 100% all season. I just like the over in that one, 46.5. It just seems the defense, if the Texans are going to score some points, it'll be in this game and against this Dolphins defense. Speaking of defense, the Jets against the Bears. It's White coming in to play quarterback for the Jets, who are 6-4 on the season and in the playoff hunt, and you do a quarterback switch. This could be the dumbest move ever, or it could be the best move ever, but it is a seriously risky move. I understand Zach Wilson threw for 77 yards last week. Believe me, Bill Belichick's made better quarterbacks look worse than that.
Exactly.
What did Jared Goff throw for in that Super Bowl against them? It had to be less than that.
Or earlier this season on the morning show, I said, in quote, young quarterbacks going into Foxborough never fares well. It never does. It's an automatic fade. It's an automatic take New England. Bill Belichick swallows those guys up. That's just what he does. They see ghosts. So
And we'll find out this week who's right. Jets and Bears. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets, I've talked about it so frequently on the show, how the Jets do at home versus foes that either have a winning record or don't have a winning record. And they're 66 and 118 ATS at home versus opponents that don't have a winning record, including 1 and 11 straight up and 2 and 10 ATS the past 3 seasons. I'm on the Bears. And it's just been like clockwork for decades. So I'm on the Bears here.
The Bears are probably like one of the better team, the better watches that just are right there within the cover. You like what you're seeing with them, and they just find a way not to cover. Like, I think that's been like the last 4 weeks with the Bears. It's really kind of frustrating, but I'm going to take them again this week. Give me the Chicago Bears. Like we were alluding to a minute ago, I don't like the coaching. I mean, not the coaching, the quarterback switch for the Jets. I know Michael White found lightning in a bottle. What was that? Was that last year or the year before? It might have been the year before that Michael White found lightning in a bottle. He looked pretty good, but you can't do this at 6-4, man. And Zach Wilson was out a few of them games, so I think his record was even better than that. I know he had a bad game against New England. I know he hasn't been playing that well, but you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He lost his running back, which the offense was predicated on. Mike White, I highly doubt is going to come in here and look any better. Joe Flacco was not going to look any better. You got to roll with your young guy, man. This is not going to bode well for a Jets team who, when the Jets always seem to do something to mess up what they had going. They had a good thing going. They're going to mess it up. Give me Chicago. Give me Chicago on the money line in this one. Matter of fact, I didn't talk myself into it. Give me the Bears on the money line. They find a way to win this one.
Jets for me. They just keep winning. Laying 6. The Bears have been not good. They keep trying. They act like they're going to be good, and they try these different things, but they can't stop the run either. So it's like you can't stop the run. You can't win, especially on the road, especially in November. Speaking about stopping the run, Bengals against the Titans. This could be the best game of the day.
It's a really good game.
This is the feature game. Titans 7-3. Derrick Henry has won a tremendous amount of money this season. Once again, 8-2 against the number for the Titans. With I always feel like I'm alone on the Titans too. It's like I've had them every single week on this show, and I feel like I don't know if I've been alone on this show or the other show. I feel like I'm alone, but boy, not a lot of people have a lot of faith in the Titans. For me, I say you run the football and play defense. I'm going to bet on you.
You know what's crazy to me is how is Tennessee a 14-point dog at Kansas City a few weeks ago? Whether or not I know they backup quarterback and all that, but Tennessee's a decent team and they've got Derrick Henry. How the hell are the Rams only a 14-point dog? Like they're making the Rams the same that they made Tennessee. The Rams this week, which I just find kind of interesting.
Well, I don't understand how the Titans are a small market, so they just don't get that kind of recognition that a team like the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champs, LA people, they have trouble letting go of that. That's the case, but it's like, Titans run the ball, play defense, and are really well coached.
Yeah, I mean, I've been against Tennessee a lot, and Mitch, you've been on them a lot. You've been right, I've been wrong. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this game. I'm going to take Tennessee here, believe it or not. For me, I mean, part of the reason is these two teams last met in last year's playoffs. Tennessee was number 1 seed. Cincinnati went in there and knocked them out of the playoffs when Tennessee was number 1 seed. So Tennessee has major playoff revenge from that upset loss, and I think that should put them in good stead here. The other thing is that they come into this game off back-to-back straight up and against the spread wins versus Green Bay and Denver, and they're now home dog, and home dogs are pick-em teams. They're 121-90 ATS in non-division games if they're off back-to-back wins. So it's a momentum play on Tennessee. It's a revenge play on Tennessee. I'm just on Tennessee.
Jay, if you had $1 for every dollar you've lost on Derrick Henry this year, you'd have more dollars.
I would.
For some reason, you don't like this guy. I don't know what it is.
I know. I know.
But it's like, I beg you to take them every week. But, every week it's like they play in all these primetime games, and it's like halftime. I'm begging you again.
So now, if Jay and I are on Tennessee, does that mean you're jumping ship and taking Cincinnati, Mitch?
No way. I take Tennessee every single game.
Okay.
The thing is, man, I know that this Titans team has hurt my pocketbook this season. They continue to do it, and I'm gonna fade them again this week. Give me Cincinnati, man. Give me the Bengals, man. This Bengals team is back to that Bengals team from last year. Like, we got to go back to last season. The Bengals were not
the Bengals team from last year. 2.5 is a death trap.
But listen, the Bengals from last year, they were not a powerhouse. They were like the Tennessee. They just flew under the radar. Nobody was on them. They just methodically did it, and then when the time came, they got it done. And I think the Cincinnati team is kind of doing that again. 6-4. I still think they're right now. My AFC Championship game is Cincinnati Chiefs. I think Cincinnati goes in here and makes another statement against Tennessee. We're better than y'all, and we beat them. Jamar Chase is back. We see some big plays from this team. If there's one team that's equipped to stop Tennessee and Derrick Henry running the football, we've seen it in playoff time. It's Cincinnati. I think they go in there and do it again. Give me the Bengals.
Cincinnati's 17th against the run in the NFL. They got no chance. They're going to get run over. We've seen it a million times. They're 28th in rushing the football. To beat the Titans, you got to beat them at their own game. You got to run the football and play defense. And the Bengals, too much of this, like the Patrick Mahomes all over the place, but just a worse version of it. That's all it really is. I could see the Titans doing the exact same thing. Vrabel, way better coach than Taylor, too. Way better. This guy is actually a real deal head coach. It's like I hate to buy into it. Played for two teams that I hate, Ohio State and the Patriots. But I still,
he's a good coach.
He's a really good coach, man. It's like his team is always in it. Even the games that they lost, that Kansas City game, they were right in it with a backup quarterback. Last week against the Packers, they slaughtered the Packers at Lambeau. That game, whatever the score was, it might have been 10 points at the end. It was not even close. It was a beatdown. And the thing was about that game, the Titans were missing like 7 players, 7 starters or something, right?
This will be the Tannehill game right here, 2 picks.
But that's like how the old Houston Oilers used to be the same way. They were always missing a ton of guys and playing better in that way. And I think that this Titans team is somewhat in that image of those old Houston Oilers. I'm taking the Titans here.
It's gonna be a good one. I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, this is one, but meanwhile they don't opt this one in for the night game.
Right.
But we got the Commanders against the Falcons. Falcons 5-6. They have an outside shot of making the playoffs here.
Best worst team in the league.
Well, the Commanders could be taking that title from them of the best worst team in the league.
Yeah.
The Commanders have it down now. It's like they've realized that you've got to beat them. Normally they have played well against the good teams and bad against the bad teams, but now they're beating the bad teams. We saw that last week. So do they beat, is the Falcons one of those bad teams? I believe Chase Young is back for this game. How would you think?
I'm going to take Atlanta here. Washington is 34-78 ATS at home versus 500 or worse opponents. If Washington wasn't getting 2 or more points in the game, of course, here they're favored. It's going to be. I've never taken Washington like a favorite, so I'm going to take Atlanta.
And I love taking Atlanta. I'm taking Atlanta on the money line in this one. I'm just keep fighting with my Dirty Birds this season, man. They done my pockets pretty well this season, even on the money line, and I think they can continue to do it. Washington is nothing to start humping up on. Taylor Heineke is still probably the 30th best quarterback in the NFL. I could see this one. I know that
who's 31st, Mariota.
Nah, Mariota probably like 25.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Probably like 25.
That's not what the numbers say. The numbers don't put him there.
I think I like the over as well in this one. I think both teams can't stop the run. I think they both are going to run the football effectively on each other. Cordell Patterson has another pretty good day. I like him to score a touchdown. And I'm going to take the Falcons on the money line, man. This is a spot, Washington, just when everybody's starting to believe in them again. It's a letdown spot. I know Mitch doesn't believe in it. I thought last week was the letdown. This week's the letdown. Give me the Dirty Birds on the money line.
Yeah, Chase Young's return to the field at home is always a great place for a letdown spot. I like the Commanders here. I like Chase Young to have just a monster welcome home game. I think the crowd's going to be electric. They understand how good this guy is. This is like the defensive lineman that can pick the ball up and run all the way in, and it doesn't look like a defensive lineman rumbling down the field. This guy's just a very big guy carrying a football, running it down the field. I think that Chase Young is the type of guy that takes bad quarterbacks and makes them look even worse. And I think Mariota's gonna. I think the passing game is out of the equation for the Falcons in this game. I like the way that the Washington's playing as a team, and it's not pretty. It's this, we're gonna help each other up, and it's all around Heineke the way that it does, and it's like they're playing as a team and all those kind of good things, man, that you want to see. I really like the way I like this whole mojo of the Commanders, and I could see them getting into the playoffs, even as a wild card, as the last wild card team, and causing teams problems. I could see it. This is the type of team that gets into the playoffs. They might not win, these games, but believe me, they're going to go out on a nice cover against a good team. That's what they'll do, and I'll take it. It's like winning as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a fan. I really hate the name Commanders. I think that they really I think they stuck it to the NFL by picking that name. I think they said, all right, you're going to make us change the name. Let's find the one that we like the least.
But the funny thing is all the other names they had that they were considering were just as awful.
Oh, yeah, terrible.
I mean, they like who comes up with this garbage?
The best was Eskimos. I came up with Eskimos. I thought Eskimos was a good one for them.
Command.
If Utah can be the Jazz, then Washington can be the Eskimos. Cardinals against the Chargers. This game sucks.
Yeah.
This is terrible. This is the game that if they canceled it, no one would even notice. But we have more of the later games this week. We have 4 late games, and this is one of them. They all stink. Al, what do you think of this one?
Well, Kyler Murray's been upgraded to probable, so the Lions come back down to where it sits now. It's at 3. Home dogs, 208 and 133 ATS off a loss by 23 or more points. If they're playing an opponent with a one-loss percentage greater than 400, that's the situation here. Arizona was just annihilated on Monday Night Football. I'm going to take Arizona plus the 3 now that I know for sure that Murray's going to play. So Arizona for me.
For me in this one, y'all know I think this Chargers team is overrated. They got some pieces, man. I don't really know what's up with this Chargers. I like Herbert. I do. His receivers have been out. I guess you could say that. But other than that, man, this team, people talk about this team like they're supposed to be like one of the powerhouses in the AFC. And I just,
they need to fire their freaking coach.
That's how I was gonna say that when it was my turn.
I mean, the minute they fire that stupid coach,
this is what it looks like when you have a talented team and a really bad coach.
Maybe that's it. Like. Yeah, I might be right.
It is it.
What is it?
It is
at least 88%.
Something's just off with those guys. So for me in this one, I know the Cardinals suck at home, but I'm gonna take them on the money line. I'm gonna try to get some plus money this week. Give me the Cardinals. Kyler Murray comes, him and DeAndre Hopkins find a little magic. I like Hopkins to get a touchdown this week. I think Murray rested. We see him do a little more of the runaround stuff that he does. And Cardinals find a way to win it. Give me the Cardinals on the money line.
Chargers are 7-3 against the number this season, which makes me 3-7 against the number in Chargers games. I mean, usually they finish around 500 against the number of most teams. So I'm guessing the odds are in my favor for the Cardinals to at least get the cover here. I'll take the Cardinals. The books, they generally don't let teams hammer the other team, hammer the number like that. We got the Seahawks against the Raiders. The Seahawks did not look good last time we saw them. It feels like it's been a while. The Raiders, they never look good. 3-7 on the season. They're not a good team. Al, what do you think of this one?
So Seattle comes into the game off that loss to Tampa. The Raiders won at Denver last week, but winning teams, like Seattle, they're 106-77 ATS at home if they lost their previous game and their opponent comes in off a road win. I got to take Clappy. I got to take Seattle. Seattle also 57-33 ATS at home off a loss, including 33-13 ATS if their opponent was off a point spread win.
But they're also off a London game.
I know. Believe me, I know. But it's like you have to kind of balance it out. And, they're off the London game, but I'm still taking them.
So for me, these are two teams that to start the season, I was really high on the Raiders and I was low on Seattle. But as the season went on, I think I was one of the few to switch pretty early. I started selling a lot of Raiders stock and I was buying a lot of the Geno Smith stock early. Now I think I'm going to go back to what I started doing at the beginning of the season. I kind of think that the Raiders are going to return to the median a little bit and try to fight their way down to the end. I'm going to take the Raiders on the money line this week. Seattle, they're a good team, but I think they're slightly overrated. I think they slightly return to the median with I think the 49ers do come back and get this division. And I think it kind of starts here with the Seattle loss. I think that the Raiders get this one. They go to 4-7 on the season. This is going to be like one of the shocks of the week. I know the Raiders have been awful. They're going to put together 2 back-to-back wins, though, and I'm going to take them on the money line.
See, the last game when the Seattle lost to Tampa Bay, in a game that was pretty close, right? I mean, I think they
got close at the end, yeah.
Yeah, it got close at the end. What happened was, though, is that it came up that Kenny Walker III didn't play in that game, and he kind of has been the difference maker for the Seahawks. But since Penny has gone down, Penny was playing well. He went down, and this Walker has been just as good. Walker's back this week. I expect Seattle to get back to business. The Raiders, they got nothing on defense. They really got some problems going on. The Raiders and the Texans, you can see the draft problems build up. As the season goes on, the depth becomes a bigger factor. So those guys that were your first round draft choices that either fizzled out or got arrested or thrown off the team for shooting guns or whatever the hell happened in Las Vegas. Well, one guy killed somebody, and then the other one with his car, and the other one was flashing guns right on social media. So you start to see this stuff, start to think. The Texans, they traded all those picks, traded like 5 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil. This is what happens when you do that. You can't do that because, well, all your first-round picks aren't always going to hit. Well, some of them are, and it just destroys your whole depth, and that's what happened to the Texans and the Raiders. So I like Clappy here. Clappy is the most undrafted players of any team every single year. He just always gets the most out of all of his guys. Taking Clappy. Chiefs against the Rams. This game sucks. Al?
Well, defending Super Bowl champs have never, well, at least not since 1980, which is as far back as my database goes. They've never been an underdog of 14 or more points until now.
This is an anomaly because this Rams team is trash.
Yeah, but defending Super Bowl champs have done well as underdogs of +5 or more points. They're 17-9 ATS. Defending champs are also 28-15 ATS on the road off a loss versus an opponent off a win. This is such a big number. I've got to take the Rams here.
How crazy is this? Okay, that the draft pick that the Lions get from the Rams is twice as good as the draft choice that they're getting themselves. That's how bad the Rams are. It's right now.
That's insane.
I know. Right now, it's 6th overall. When they traded, Matthew Stafford and got that pick, no one expected that it was going to be, a top 5 pick. But that it is setting up. It's not going to be number 1, but it could easily be top 5 because ahead of them in the standings. So they're all 3-7. The Jags, the Steelers, the Browns, the Rams, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Bears, and the Panthers all have 3 wins.
They might be the worst of the bunch.
They might be the worst of the bunch, and all the other teams have hope. All other teams have some kind of hope, at least, a reason to believe that you would think that they would win maybe 1 or 2 more games at the least. Deshaun Watson's coming back, and you got, the Raiders. Maybe they'll be better than this. I mean, who knows? But the Rams they're just terrible.
For me in this one, I know it's a huge number. I know when we see big numbers like this, we're supposed to hold our nose and take the dog. But I'm gonna lay it, man. I know the Chiefs are a horrible cover team. I know all of this. The Chiefs usually as favorites, you typically want to take the underdog because they don't cover the spread. But I'm gonna lay it, man. 14.5 is crazy. That's 2 touchdowns and a field goal, pretty much. But I think they get it done. I think
they can get it done in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think they can get it done. I can see this one being a ugly one. We've seen some ugly ones this season, and I think this one could be one of those. We just seen 40-3 last week, guys. We just seen it. I'm gonna lay the 14. The Chiefs are the much better team. Rams, I'm not gonna believe them at all. I'm gonna lay the points this week with the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Rams are just terrible.
The Patrick Price.
They're absolutely terrible. Let's see. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm not even going to think twice about it. I'll lay the big number, circa pick.
Yeah.
Niners against the Saints. Oh, God. Here's one. It's like another game. This is good because, normally the 4:00 games, we don't have the late show. So this will give me a chance to maybe go to Target or something and do some things that I need to do, get some socks. Maybe go shop and get a few socks. I'm not sure. Because there's not one game here that I want to watch. The Niners and the Saints. Al, I know Al won't be watching these.
No, I'll be with the kids and or working on college basketball.
Something important.
Right. The Saints 67-33 ATS versus 500 or better foes off a straight up win, including 31-9 ATS if the Saints opponent won its previous game by more than 11 points, which of course San Francisco did down there in Mexico. New Orleans for me.
I'm going to be honest. My top 2 teams in the NFC right now are the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. I've been with Mitch all season trashing this Niners team, but I'm going to be honest. If there's one team that I'm afraid of for my Cowboys to face in the playoffs, it's this Niners team because they run the football effectively and they're physical. I think they're just going to get real physical with this Saints team. The Saints are awful. This is going to be another probably route. I hope it's Andy Dalton this week. We know how we feel about him. They're going to turn him over. It's going to be ugly. I'm interested to see which way Mitch is going to go. This is evil on evil.
I'm taking the Saints. I'm taking the Saints. But because all right, you're saying you're afraid of the. It's so every week, right? We talk about all these different things, and Jay, on Sunday's the day. Today, on this show, we generally get down to nuts and bolts. Sunday's the day where people are always like, "Who have they played? Who have they played? Who have they played?" Well, let's look at this, and you tell me who they played. Okay, Arizona, they beat the Chargers 22-16. The Rams, they played the Chiefs, got shellacked. Right, shellacked 44-23. They were 1-point dogs in that game. All right. That's how crazy that thing was. They beat the Falcons. They lost to the Falcons by 2 touchdowns in Atlanta. They beat Carolina. They beat the Rams again. They lost at Denver by a point. They beat Seattle and lost to the Bears. So that's the 10 games that they've played this season. I know. That's not a pretty resume right there. There's nothing on there that says they're going to go in and bust up the Chiefs the next time, or the Titans, or the Vikings, or anybody. It's they beat the Cardinals and the Rams a bunch of times. Is really what this is.
You're right. You got a good point, but I mean, if you're gonna go with that route, you got to throw the Saints kind of in the same level as those.
Oh yeah, no, the Saints are terrible.
Exactly.
Terrible.
So that's why I think they're gonna beat up on another bad team. Now, when they play another good team, I just think they match up good against my Cowboys. Now against who else could they play in the playoffs? Against the Giants, it might be a different matchup. It's just a matchup game. They got real physical with us just last year in the playoffs. I just think it's a bad matchup for my Cowboys. Overall, though, I don't think they get it. I would take Philly over 49ers to beat them in a playoff game. It's just a matchup.
It's a lousy game. Lousy game. Speaking of lousy, Eagles are taking on the Packers. Eagles now 9-1, came back, and the coach Sirianni, whatever his name is, says, "I really wanted to make a statement against the Colts because they fired my mentor, Frank Reich. You won by 1 point in a squeaker. That's not making a statement. A statement is up by 41, 3 seconds left to go in the game. You call timeout and kick a field goal. That's making a statement. This is not. I don't know. I think the Eagles are still frauds. I've been wrong. I've been getting my ass kicked on them, but they're only 5-5 against the number this season. So it's not like I've been getting really. It just feels like I have been, but they're really only 5-5 against the number. I've been betting against the Eagles all season.
Man, you both.
But the Packers, I've either been against them or not on them at all, and I only lost one game. That I think one Packer game all season. That was I lost two. I lost the Cowboys and the Bucs. Those are the two I lost. Eagles and Packers. I hate these teams. This is a Sunday night game.
Yeah, well, speaking of 9-1, that's the Packers record ATS with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback if they're off an upset loss, and then they're an underdog in their next game. We saw that earlier this year with the Cowboys. They were off that upset loss to Detroit, then they were an underdog versus Dallas. I'm not fading Aaron Rodgers in this situation. I'm going to take the points with Green Bay.
Green Bay looked so bad last week.
I've got a good friend, a really good handicapper, and Green Bay's off his list. Like, he refuses, no matter they could be a 25-point under. Like, he's not taking. Just absolutely refuses.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
There's some handicappers out there that I'd love to know who they have in this game because I'll just go on the other side. I have a short list.
I'm the type of handicapper no team is ever off my list. Like, I'm stubborn.
I got three handicappers. If I can get a consensus of 2 of 3 of them on one side, I'm easily on the other side.
In the NBA, I have a do not bet list. It fluctuates throughout the season, though, and so For me in this one, though, I know, man. I don't think I've been on the Eagles not once this year. I think I've really faded them every game, to be honest. I think I have. All 10, I've possibly faded the Eagles. I'm gonna take them this week, though. I think it's a good spot, man. They haven't covered in back-to-back weeks. They look like they've returned in the median in back-to-back weeks. A lot of everybody saying they're not the number one team in the NFC. They're overrated now. And I think they come out here and flex their muscles on Sunday Night Football against Green Bay. Green Bay is not a good football team. They're awful. only laying 6.5. They beat. I know they beat my Cowboys. I know they did, but I'm still not a believer. And last week they should have saved their season last week, and they couldn't do it. I think the Eagles come in here and they beat them by a touchdown.
Well, Derrick Henry ran over them. You guys just got another bat. It was another game that you got beat by Derrick Henry. Yeah, what that was.
Eagles are going to be in the all black. They're pulling out all black helmets for this one.
It's like we could do a Jeopardy. Games Jay got beat by Derrick Henry. It's like, who are the Chiefs? Who are the Packers? Who are?
Sure could. Shit.
My last 2 years overall have been my worst 2 years ever. So I'm fine with it.
In this one, though.
The thing is, like, my overall record isn't horrible. I just when you pick that many games, you have to be better than okay because you get juiced, and that's just where I'm at. Just getting absolutely juiced the last 2 years. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Packers in this one. I can't take the Eagles. I'm 5-5 against them. I have to try and get the edge here and go to 6-5 against the Eagles. And besides, I don't think the people that watch the shows would appreciate it if I took the Eagles after going against them all season
Yeah,
long, because they love giving me a hard time about
I know.
going against the Eagles and the Phillies and the Flyers and Sixers.
I'm interested to see what the comments say, and on Sunday when I take the Eagles there too.
I took the Sixers yesterday against the Nets, but I don't know. That was only because in the comments, if people comment in the YouTube comments during the show that this player is out or that player is out, it automatically makes me take that team, because that just shows me that the public sentiment has gone beyond the line adjustment.
The injury factor has been a key. I kind of think that's a fact.
You got to take the team with the injured player, because the sentiment goes beyond the line adjustment. You know what I mean? It goes beyond it. So it's like last night, the Sixers won outright.
Or like the Kings, they said Ja Morant was back. Everybody started humping up on the Grizzlies.
But I had the Kings in the game, -1 because I put it out in the morning. But the problem with the NBA these days is you've got to give out the games before 7 p.m. Eastern, so can't worry about it really.
So my chalk line feeds have not graded the Sam Houston game. I'm seeing it in some places where they have South Dakota as the winner of the game, but it was Sam Houston in today's action.
Yeah, if you're wondering why your sportsbook hasn't, credited your account, that's why.
Yeah, there's an issue with this game. Many of the books and some of the larger websites out there, one that Al used to be a handicapper on, but they no longer have expert picks, rhymes with mothers. They have the score incorrect on this game
because they're incompetent.
Well, it's because they're getting it through a feed, and it's the same feed.
Yeah,
it's the same feed. It's coming from more than likely from Sports Radar or what's that other one? It's more than likely coming through the other one. It's called Data, whatever, sportsdata.io.
Right.
They're getting a bad feed.
I wish I was in Maui right now. Great tournament they've got going on there.
Yep, it's one of the best tournaments to go to. You get,
you should see the field next year, Mitch. It's like Kansas, UCLA. They got an unbelievable field in Maui next November.
Well, they haven't had the tournament in 2 years. It's been held off of Maui 2 years, and then they've gone full tilt with these. You buy session tickets is the way that it works.
Yeah,
2 sessions a day, or you can get a full day ticket. And they have assigned seating, but it's not really assigned seating. It really is awesome. You can sit right behind the announcers, whatever, and be on TV and wave and do whatever you want. No one's gonna bug you. It's pretty aloha, as they say.
Yeah.
But
it's the best. I mean, if people haven't been to it, it's like the best sports event thing I've ever done in my life. Better than a Super Bowl, better than anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that soon.
It's a good one. We've got the Colts taking on the Steelers on Monday Night Football. The Steelers, I think, had their chance, against the Bengals. Now I think they might be actually done. The Colts, they had the Eagles dead to rights with the chance to go to 500 on the season. They could not get it done. Couldn't close the deal.
I was sitting on the money line, gave out the money line on the Colts, and that one, heartbreak. We had them plus the points too, so we still made money, but we wanted that big payout.
What do you got here, Al?
I got Pittsburgh, mainly because of how many points they gave up last week. They gave up 37 to the Bengals, but Pittsburgh is 39-13 ATS. If they gave up 28 or more points in the previous game and their current opponent has an ATS win percentage of 400 or better, Pittsburgh plus 2.5. At least that's what the line was last night. I should see if it's still at 2.5.
I still see 2.5.
Okay.
That's what I see.
I'm laying it with Indianapolis. I think everybody just steady hating on them. We've covered in back-to-back weeks with Saturday in there. Let's go for a third. They get the win in this one, and they cover. It's really that simple. I like what I seen in the first half. Matt Ryan's back in there. He's, okay. He's, Matt Ryan. The Steelers, I think everybody's just still holding on to the Steelers of the past. This is not those guys. Mike Tomlin is probably my favorite coach in the NFL. I love that guy, but this is just not their year. I think they're gonna fold it down and they're gonna build it back up next season. They're not really gonna do that, but I think that's what happens. And I'm gonna take the Colts in this one. They keep their season alive. I'm gonna lay the 2.5. I would think about money line if you don't want to lay the 2.5 in this one, but I think you're safe at the 2.5, so to lay it.
I'm gonna take the under in this. I just don't think there's gonna be too much good things on offense. I think the kickers are gonna get a workout in this thing. Take the under.
It's just so mind blowing that the Steelers have had just 3 coaches in over 50 years.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's just like a credit to the Rooney family and all that. It's just
the Cowboys had that going for a while, but
yeah. But it's 3 coaches, 50 years, more than 50 years. Just unbelievable.
They're also, they're willing to sit through a bad year
Exactly.
too.
Yeah. No, it's like that's what you want as a coach too. You don't want to always be looking over your shoulder, wondering, when you're going to get the axe.
The best coaches still get axed. Tom Landry, Don Shula, they get axed.
Jimmy Johnson.
Well, Jimmy Johnson was a disagreement.
Yeah.
It wasn't performance based. It was just a disagreement with Jerry Jones. About Jerry Jones thinks that it's he's brought the success to the team. I can get Barry Switzer in here. That's what he said. Jerry Johnson, go ahead. Have fun. I'll see ya. That was it. And then Barry Switzer came in and coached the team. He left Oklahoma, went in, coached the Cowboys, and once it was him doing the drafting, well, they weren't quite the same. Because Jimmy Johnson, one of the greatest evaluators of talent in the history of the game. Him and, Butch Davis, who was also on that Cowboys staff.
And my guy Jimmy still not in the ring of honor. Like, come on, Jerry.
Oh, they're not going to put him in. They will not put him in. They're not friends.
What's he doing these days?
He's still on Fox, right?
Yeah, he's on Fox. Jimmy's on Fox.
Fishes. He's got a place in the Keys. Goes fishing. He's doing all right. I think Jerry paid him pretty well when all is said and done. He gave him big money. All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Hey, before we go, place y'all some Cowboys Super Bowl futures.
Before we go, by the time we have next week's show, we will have our 100,000 subscribers. Thank everyone. Thank all of you guys for being part of it with us. Certainly, it's the most fun clubs to be in are the ones that nobody wants you in. And I think that'll be one that where nobody wants us. And, we'll think of every reason to say why we shouldn't be there. But too bad, so sad. Have a great week, everyone. And I'll see you tomorrow at halftime. I'll see you tonight on the drive-thru and tomorrow morning on the regular live show. Where I'll be there with the smart one, Chris Ruffalo and Rod Zawacki.